There's a chance to seal it. It's done. It's Georgie Kelly. Rotherham United's pathway back to the Championship is opening up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome again to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. We appreciate you being with us. We have a point to talk about. It feels like about a week ago now, to be honest. We played Norwich, but we'll talk about the 0-0 at Norwich. You know what action there was, and we will look ahead to Luton Town on Saturday, which I suspect could be more eventful, possibly. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a bit. We have Mick back with us. How you doing, Mick?
All good, mate. Thank you. You?
Excellent. Thank you very much. Danny is back with us. How you doing, Danny?
I'm doing all right, thank you. I've got a lovely pina colada tonight.
Look at you. Well, not safe yet. You're doing celebratory drinks. That's still, that's the end of season drink, that, Danny.
Not for me, it's not.
And we've got Lewis Alden back with us. How you doing, Lewis?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. I'll have to be back on.
Good, yes. It's been a long time in the coming. We've been working getting Lewis on for several months. We've got him back on. She's been with us, mate. We're going to start by saying a thank you to Kimbo Sports, who, as we mentioned, do support the show. They are local kit suppliers where you can get your new kits for the next season, 11-a-side, 5-a-side, 6-a-side, men's and women's, as far as I'm aware as well, which I will check on. If you go to kimbosports.co.uk and on checkout, use code NYT, they will give you 20% off any kits and stuff. And they're one guy running it, and he's very, very good customer. So you get excellent customer service without Wayne, even if he is a Wednesday night. And you can still get the New York Talk hats on their website as well, and some of the New York Talk section, which we may get some more stuff arranged in the next few weeks as well. And I hope if Holly's listening, I can see he sees in the comments. I will definitely meet you on Saturday to give you your hat that you won the other day. Right, let's get into it. Lewis, start with you. 0-0 draw, not a classic, not much to talk about, but that is a good point. A point away at Norwich is a good point.
Yeah, they're not the team many expect them to be this year. They've been quite crap compared to what they usually are in this league. Yeah. But it's a tough place. It's one of the tougher places to go in the division. And position we're in, any point away really is good. Apart from the side when we're playing a team around us, maybe. But defended really well. Did what we had to do. Just a point close to where it needs to be.
Absolutely. Simon Thorne says, evening all, 4 points from 6 games, a pretty good Easter weekend, is now back to be fully confident. Mick, this is easy to say because we were after the game, and I know Wes cleared one off the line. I think Blackett cleared a scuffed one off the line. But they were almost half chances. They were almost out of nothing, and I never felt in danger. And we're talking now, other than the red card at Hull, we're talking 3 games in a row where we have been almost completely untested. Or untested amount of the right works. I think I might be underplaying us by saying that, but certainly looking solid as a rock. And that's a great base, and 5 points from 3 games since the World Cup, since the international break. That is a really, really good return.
It is. I think you've been a bit unfair saying we've been untested. I think.
Yes.
Yeah, and I know you know that. I know your inability to speak properly is probably.
I know. We're mute, Mick. Come on.
Yeah. So speaking of which, mate, I've struggled to string a sentence together tonight, so I couldn't even string that sentence together. So it's going to be a long night. We kept clean sheets for one reason and one reason only, and that's because we defended exceptionally well in all 3 games. But that in and of itself, with the history of this season, is a worry. Because we don't tend to put 4 or 5 games defending very well together, do we? But there is no reason why we can't build on that. There were still mistakes defensively and all over the pitch that can be worked upon. But Norwich were bang average, but we were excellent in defence and deserved the point.
Yeah, I agree. Although saying that, Danny, I agree. I thought Norwich certainly on the day bang average, and if you compare it to when we played them last time, I can't remember if they had to change manager or not, but they were bang average at the time as well. This is a team that are on verge of playoffs. This is not, West Brom were dropped down a little bit. Hull a lower mid-table.
this is a team who could genuinely still get into the playoffs, and we're making these teams look like they are maybe not the same level. You can maybe tell they are a bit better than us, but we are making them look like they are nothing special.
Yeah, I think it's the hard work that the squad and the management staff have put into it, where we don't look as afeared of top teams in this division now. I mean, of former Premier League teams. I mean, we've drawn and lost to Norwich. We also came down from the Premier League last season. Watford and Burnley. Yeah. I mean, we've only lost once to Burnley, which I'm still annoyed about. And we've drawn twice to Watford. It's not bad. And then with the teams kicking up the division, we've drawn with Luton. We've not lost to Sheffield United, which I'm still quite impressed with. And the stat has come out that we've not been doubled yet, which is very, very interesting. And that won't occur until at least the Burnley game on Tuesday, which isn't too bad at all. But I think it comes down to we're just less afeared of the teams and gone, actually, you know what? We're in this division as well. We can give you a game. And that's exactly what we did to Norwich. And Norwich didn't like that we gave them a game, but didn't play into their hands at the same time. So I saw a comment saying that Norwich were quite annoyed that, we didn't just let them go on the counter-attack and we refused to play a game. But I think we actually played Norwich the way they don't want people to play against them, which is to go, no, we won't play your game. We'll play our game and grind out a point because, like the title of the vlog says, if you can't win away, you draw. And that's exactly what we've done. And we've done very, very well with it.
Yeah. Phil in the comments says the trouble is we keep highlighting how poor the overall standard is, but look where we are. Yeah, I mean, Lewis, I mean, that's really harsh that we've just come up. We've only just got back into this division and we are in a position where we will probably stay up. That's progress. If nothing else, it's progress.
Yeah. It's a position we all hope to be, but at times we've might have doubted it more than others. But yeah, we're just gradually making progress. That's all we can do at this level, considering our relatively limited budget. The small steps, and if we can stay up this year and then kick on, that's what we're after. It's just a consistency thing with us at the moment. That'll come once we get more used to the division. Hopefully next season we can find our feet a bit better.
Pick up a few good signings. There's a good base there. I think.
Definitely.
There's two reasons why we are where we are, and only two reasons, because the level in this division is not great. It's not great at all. The two reasons are those run of games after the World Cup, and then the run of games after the last, or the run of games prior to the sort of whole game. Had we not had those two runs, we'd be well mid-table, easily mid-table. It's the inconsistency of the performances, the performance levels that have put us where we are. I stand by the fact that in terms of quality in this division, there's Burnley.
Sheffield United on the day.
But they're not consistent enough, But
they're still going to go up.
Yeah, they're going to go up. Of course they are. But yeah, it's the level is not. It's not that great. It's not that great at all. And the reason we are where we are is because of our inconsistencies in performances, particularly after the World Cup.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to bring everyone's attention to Matt Squires, who asked us to talk about Andy Womble, Trevor Womble's son, doing the fundraiser for dementia. He's raised over £1,700 already. We obviously put it in the last podcast, which is brilliant. Mick, have you got the banner to put across the bottom?
I have. It's there.
That's not the right one.
Anyway. Oh, is it not?
No.
No, it's not, is it?
We will find the link. If you are, again, if you're not watching us, if you go to Matt Squires on Twitter.
Trust me, you do not trust me with any sort of technology.
So it's justgiving.com/Andy-Womble. If you want to donate, do so as you can. The Elevation once Matt says to me, thank you for letting him talk to him. Yeah, on the coach on the Kinney Park bus. It was lovely to speak. My first visit to Kinney Park coaches, and it was a great day, Danny. Helped by the Swedes doing the quiz, which we failed miserably at. I failed miserably at. But it was it was a classic away day, really. A long way, full of great people.
Yeah, it was. It were it were a class bus, to be honest. The quiz was a nice touch. Yeah, well, it were hard, wasn't it? There were a lot of Swedish questions in there, and it was doubly hard for me because I know bugger all about music.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I did well to get, what did I get, about 18? And then winning team got 26.
Out of 32.
Yeah, out of 32. So it's like, fair play. But yeah, it was just a class bus, class people. I apologise for making us a little bit late at the pub. My brunch arrived late and I was still eating my chips. But we got to the ground on time, so it don't matter, does it? We got there on time, didn't miss out, don't matter.
Exactly. Danny's vlog's up if you want to have a taste of what it was like for us on the day. You can see my head a few times. That's about it. Have a look at that. James Dyson says, some old boring comments from the so-called better teams. No credit to our lads. Keep the upsets coming. Yeah, I agree. The bad news, Mick, was Victor. Victor came out. We'll come on to the positive for Josh Vickers in a minute. But Victor came out. He's had an injection, according to Paul Davis. That's a good sign for me, because if he was out for the season, they wouldn't have given him an injection. They would just let it recover naturally. So if they're going to give him an injection, that says there is a good possibility he will be available between now and the end of the season, which is only, 3 or 4 weeks away. Yeah,
you would hope so, wouldn't you? But he's got to get his place back.
Yeah.
Josh Vickers, we know how good Josh Vickers is. We know what a good goalkeeper he is. So it's unfortunate for Victor. And I'm sure we'll see him back in a Rotherham United shirt pretty soon. I've no doubt about that whatsoever. But the fact that we can lose a Swedish international goalkeeper and then still not particularly be worried about goalkeeping department is a ridiculous situation for Rotherham United to be in. But we are in it, and it's great. So and he had a good game on Saturday. Did Josh Vickers, given the fact that he's not played for a year,
Yeah. Well, he is a hell of a replacement to come in. We hope Victor will be back soon. Shoulder injury apparently, just in training. But yeah, Josh Vickers, Lewis, you've got to get that mix. You've got to give him so much credit. He's not played for virtually. He played in the cup games at the start of the season. As Mick mentioned the other day, it's almost exactly a year since he got injured prior to the Wembley final, which again he's not got back into the team ever since. He pulled off some really, really smart saves, really, really good saves. We're so lucky to have a Josh Vickers as a number 2 keeper, which sounds stupid, really, because he is not a number 2 keeper.
The fact that both are players as well is a nice touch compared to years gone by. But if you look to last season, they were nip and tuck with Victor all season, really. There was not very little between them. And obviously that injury and Victor's ridiculous form this season has just made it. He's had no none to look in, really. But you just can't fault his attitude. As I think Taylor said it in his press conference today or yesterday, was it? That he's been faultless the last few months, even though he's not been playing. And you can tell his hard work. How he can just slot in seamlessly, as if he's not been playing.
Yeah, it's got a good character. We talked about Doffin being out for such a long time and then finding his way back in. Josh Vicker, you've got to assume it's still sort of similar mentality. I mean, maybe easier for a keeper because only one's always going to play, so you might have to be a bit stronger mentally anyway. But I don't think he'll be wanting to give up that shirt, will he? I don't think. If Danny, and this is a stupid question, I know the answer. But if Victor was out for the season, would you be worried? Would you be just sort of that's you're sort of sad for Victor, but from a Rotherham United hat point of view, you just that's sort of fine. You get fit for next season, and off we go.
Yeah, there's no worry from me at all if Victor's out for the rest of the season and Vickers has to come in because, like we've said, we've got two very capable, top quality goalkeepers that are both ours. You know, it was around this time last season where Vickers got injured and Victor came in, and then it's just sort of repeated itself and happened this time. But From what I've been told by secret squirrels, Victor's injury isn't serious, and he should be back in training in more or less like 10 days, 2 weeks tops, I think. So it should be all right until end of season, but it depends on how Josh Vickers does and if he keeps hold of the shirt. I think Victor ever so slightly edges it in the overall goalkeeping department, but that takes nothing away from Josh Vickers because he's equally as capable. And I think Vickers might just edge it on penalties if I'm being very, very critical.
Just because he didn't save that one on Friday.
No, in penalty shootouts, Victor's better.
Yeah.
But if you like in open play penalties, if like within 90 minutes penalties, I'd say Vickers edges it. But you could say that's experience. But anyway, yeah, no worries for me that Vickers is in goal now.
Yeah. If Vickers has a history of being injured, if Vickers get injured while Victor is injured, we will be able to bring an emergency loan, just in case everybody's interested and worry about that.
But we still do have 2 keepers training with the senior keepers because we've got Humphries and the what's he called now? The under-18s keeper. That's really bad. I forgot his name. But we do have another standing keeper, and I mean Robbie Humphries decent as well.
They'd bring in an emergency loan. I don't think they'd start Humphries. If it got down to him, they'd definitely bring in an emergency loan. I think anyway.
Can get Ben Foster in from Wrexham. That'd be right.
Yeah.
Their season finishes before ours. Would be right.
That's if they go up, which they probably will. Mike Miller says, for me, Josh was the better keeper. He was more consistent than Victor until this season. Yeah, which is true. Chris Taylor says, hope Victor is okay for the Swedish friendly. Yeah, they play New Zealand in a friendly end of May, beginning of June, which would be a great. Hopefully, we would all see him play a game for Sweden. We'll have to wait and see. Injury permitting, that'd be really cool to see him get his first start. But yeah, Mick, I'm going to come to you on this one because I'm just going to say the name of the person, and I'm going to say it. I'm going to wind it like a wind-up toy, and just say Cameron Humphries to you.
What can you say? I mean, it was just absolutely outstanding again on Monday. He's a wonderful footballer.
Injured footballer as well.
Yeah, and playing injured. Yeah, but the thing about him is it's his composure. His composure on the ball is just remarkable for a player of his age and experience. He's good in the air. He's faultless. You know, I can think of one mistake this season, and that was for I think it was either a Coventry or a Sunderland goal where he didn't cut out a cross. He didn't close it down enough. Other than that, yeah, he's been absolutely outstanding. And for me on Monday, he was just rock solid. So yeah, I can't say enough good things about him. I think he's a fabulous player. Absolutely fantastic.
It's in many words described. Matt Squires says Cameron Humphries is a Rolls Royce for a player. We should command an astronomical fee when the inevitable bid comes in.
Absolutely.
How highly do we rate him, Lewis? We all watch a good amount of other Championship football, not Premier League football. It's difficult because we only see these opposition teams once a week. But how highly do you rate Cameron Humphries? Is it as high as Mick?
Oh, he's rubbish, isn't he?
Well made, Lewis.
It's rubbish, but we'll keep him on a long contract anyway.
Yeah. Just nice to have him around, I suppose. Yeah, he always is ridiculously good for a player. I think is he 22 or 21? This is his first we played in Belgium before, weren't he? But to just come in and have no worries about him at all, and his defending is ridiculously good as well. What is obviously on the ball is faultless. He's got all the hallmarks of a Premier League defender in the making, and it's only a matter of time until he gets there. Hopefully with us, but we'll see.
Well, that's he's a year older than me.
I don't like that.
Yeah,
it's a good thing as well that we've got him. He signed a 3-year deal, didn't he?
Yeah.
So, like worst case scenario, this summer he'll have 2 years left, and we can still demand a decent fee for him. But hopefully, he continues to go under the radar a bit, at least in the season.
It does seem to go under the radar, doesn't it? Nobody else seems to have noticed him.
If he gets picked up on that stat things on Twitter sometimes, but he don't really get much praise, which I'm happy about for now.
Yeah, me too. One of the big things about him, Danny, it's not one of the big things, it's one of the many things about Cam Humphries is, at the start of the season, we've mentioned a few times that we spoke to the Belgian podcast about Cam Humphries. He's better with more senior players around him. Sheep Ferguson as a left wing back initially, and then Woody in a centre half. What has been it's almost a progression within a season. He is now the senior man. He is now the man. Tyler Blackett comes in, Bailey Wright comes in, Sean Morrison, blah blah blah. It's just Cam Humphries is always there. He's the man. He's become the man we rely on so much. And within less than 46 games, this is what he's developed into, and it just shows us how steep this curve could be.
Yeah, I think he still does perform a little bit better with a senior experience, like overall career experience-wise, defender next to him, which is probably why we've rattled away through Sean Morrison, Bailey Wright, and Tyler Blackett, because they've been about a bit longer, shall we say? But in terms of the consistent one in defence, it is Cam Humphries, and it was a little bit wobbly with, like you said, less experienced centre halves next to him, but that boils down to a confidence thing, coming back into English football and basically refinding his feet. And he's had that with us because we do have the senior players that have obviously passed on a little bit of knowledge of the division to him, but the confidence shines through with him now because he's not scared to make the decision himself. He doesn't look to the senior man to effectively not tell him what to do, but as backup, if that makes sense. He's more willing to go in for it himself, which, like you said, we've seen that progression through the season. If he can progress that much in one season and we stay up for next season, then he'll keep building on from that. And dare I say, it'd be an even better centre half. And again, one of them players where he's ours and got a bit of time left on his contract. That's a brilliant thing.
Yeah, it is. Brad C says, not had the feeling since Semi Ajayi was at the club. And it's only a season, Mick, but right now he is better than Semi was. Because I always felt with Semi that although he rarely made a mistake with the ball at his feet, he did make mistakes. We haven't seen that from Cam Humphries yet. And we're nearly a full season in by now. There was always that feeling when Semi, don't do that, Semi. I never have that feeling with Cam Humphries. He's just a step ahead all the time. And that says something because Semi Ajayi was one hell of a player for us.
Semi Ajayi was an excellent central defender for us. He was a better holding midfielder for me, in my view. But he was an excellent central defender. But he's not a patch on the ability and the prospect that Cameron Humphries is. And I don't say that lightly because I have massive respect for Semi Ajayi, a hell of a player, and we were robbed by West Brom, in terms of the fee that we got for him. I do not think that will happen with Cameron Humphries when he inevitably leaves us for a bigger club. He's got everything he needs to play at the highest level in this country without a doubt, in my view. So, yeah, I know we're bigging him up and make it. I think he's a fabulous player. I keep saying it now. I'm going to shut up now.
Yeah, Harley Jarvis says it was QPR gave the ball away, led to the goal.
Early on in season, that's fine.
Yeah. Paramount Case asked if he's on loan. No, he certainly isn't on loan. 3-year contract. Knowing how the previous management works, there could be an option for us at the end of that contract. It was with Rathbone and a few others. So there's a potential. I don't know that. That's me speculating. It could be a 4-year contract, which would be Chris Tedder. Transfer market shows him worth €900,000.
What's that? About 750, 800k.
I'm telling you, they missed a zero off. That's all it is.
Long may he just continue to fly under the radar. There's a chap in the comments who I think is a Sheffield United fan. Is it Gaza? Who said that United will take him in place of Jack O'Connell. Maybe if you get promoted, fella, if you do, then but the price tag is going to be up there because he's a Premier League footballer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He wasn't winning.
he's
He got
paying off a
injured
2-year
quite early in the
contract
season.
and then some.
Sorry, go on, Danny.
Yeah, I'm just saying if anyone does want to sign him, being promoted to the Premier League or whatever, they'd have to pay off his 2-year contract and then some, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. Bowman is with Mick. Humphries is way better than the £30 million Stoke player.
I mean, I rest my case. Yeah, I mean, I'd forgotten about him. He is not fit to lace Cameron Humphries' boots, that lad, is he? But in all seriousness, when you look at, I can't remember his name now.
Suter.
Yeah.
Suter. When you look at Suter play, and
Suter
you
was
look
30 million quid.
You what? Sorry, Danny.
Suter was 30 million quid.
Yeah. But you look at him play, you look at his positional play, you look at the way he holds himself, you look at his ability on the ball, his ability in the air, his ability to defend. I'm talking about Suter here. It is not even close. It does not come, genuinely doesn't come anywhere close to having the same sort of ability. So 30 million quid. I mean, I don't know what happened there. That was well dodgy. That's a well dodgy deal.
Okay. Leicester are in the relegation zone as we speak, I suppose.
I wonder why.
Anyway, let's move
By
on.
crap defenders.
Tyler Blackett, he did come off injured. Matt Taylor's been training today with Thursday, which will be our prior Saturday game. That's a really, really good sign for Blackett to play. Oh, I thought also I would give a shout out to Tyler Blackett because he's been brilliant since he came out. John's not in the comments tonight, but Tyler Blackett has not put a single foot wrong so far. He's obviously playing more and more minutes. He's been really, really good, really, really good. Lewis, we were taking the victory away from the starting lineup. We were giving Ollie Rathbone only played an hour or so, but he just lifts everybody. I said this a few weeks ago. He just lifts everybody, and I don't think he had his best game against Norwich, but it's so important to have Ollie Rathbone on your pitch. He's almost talismanic at times, the way he drives the whole team forward. If you can get an hour out, if you can only get an hour out in between now and each game out, that's still an hour more than we just need that time with him, I think.
Yeah, he just sets the example for everyone else, doesn't he? The way he works, it's just I just can't believe how much he's come on this season because I think as in terms of players stepping up from League One to Championship is been the main one really. He's been brilliant for us, and he's taken that leadership role onto him, and he's been fantastic, and he's just irreplaceable now. Really, he's got to that point. So, like you say, if we can get an hour out of each game, it's well worth it because he just lifts everything.
Yeah, he does, and that midfield three, Danny, is the midfield three. I've sort of what commentary we've talked about. We've got Jamie Lindsay and Ollie Rathbone in the same sort of team, and that's a big part of the point we picked up because they just they didn't control midfield, but they certainly stopped Norwich controlling that midfield, and against a lesser team. That is then going to allow us to control the midfield. That's a really, really good, with how much Conor Coventry's come on in last week or so, that's a really, really good central three.
Yeah, it is. It's sort of all come together nicely at the same time. You know, Coventry finding his confidence and improving, and then Rathbone coming back as well. But let's play ifs and maybes. If Rathbone didn't get injured, would Conor Coventry have found his confidence earlier?
Cool.
But more importantly, we've got it now, and we've got a running of 6 games to really see what the midfield could be like with the addition of Ben Wiles still to come, maybe for the last 2 or 3. So work that one out between us all. But yeah, we've said for a bit that we were sort of lacking a little bit in midfields, you know, and that's where other teams were getting the dominance on us. But now we've got one player coming good, one player that's been consistent in Lindsay, and one player coming back from injury, plus a Doffin as well in there. Like that's a very, very strong midfield now, and it's all coming together nicely at the right time.
It is very, very much so. We should say congratulations to Akeem Madoffin. I'm not sure is congratulations the right word. He's worked hard to be the EFL player in the community for the Sky Bet Championship.
Congratulations on getting recognised for it.
Yeah, correct. I mean, this is obviously not why he does it to get recognised by EFL. I don't think he's out back in mind. No, I wonder when EFL are going to recognise me. It's more sort of well done on the work that he's done already in the community, and well done to the EFL of recognising it is maybe the better way of putting it. He's clearly a great lad, isn't he? I feel sorry for him not playing again, to be honest with you, because he's not done much wrong. But yeah, well done to Hakeem Madoffin. Mick, Conor Coventry again. If he has games like that, I didn't particularly notice him, to be honest with you. Somebody else may have watched the game a bit more closely than I did. But I thought it was good. And that's almost what I want from him. I don't want to notice him necessarily because of the job he does. I don't really want to have to notice. Obviously, we did on Friday because I thought it was excellent. But it was just really, really good. He anchored the midfield really, really well. He allows Rathbone that leash to go do what he does and Jamie Lindsay to do what he does. That's basically what we want right now from Conor Coventry.
It's exactly what he did. And we've talked about this on previous podcasts. The position he plays is a position that you don't really want to see. You don't want to notice. But yeah, he did very, very well, and he's starting to get involved and break play up a lot more. I think he got a yellow card on against Norwich. I think is that 2-2 he's got now, which kind of shows that he's getting more involved. He's getting more aggressive, and I was really, really impressed with him the other day. Really impressed with him. Whether that has anything to do with the fact that he's got both Jamie Lindsay and Ollie Rathbone around him, I suspect it probably has, because he doesn't have to do quite so much of the kind of ratting about, if you like, for want of a better term.
Yeah, definitely. Simon Thorne says he talked about the spines. We've got Jordan Hugo, Ollie Rathbone, Jamie Lindsay, Cam Humphries, and then Victor or Vickers in the goal. That's a heck of a spine to build around. They're obviously all permanent, Lewis, and this is long term, and we might be getting ahead of ourselves. But from a summer recruitment point of view, if you go to a random centre back and say, "Come and play with us," because you're playing with Cam Humphries, or "Come and play with us" because you're going to play with Ollie Rathbone, or "Come and play with us" because you're going to supply everything to Jordan Hugo. You've got players there to attract other players, which I think's new, to be honest with you. I don't remember us really having that for quite a long time.
It's quite rare for us.
Yeah,
it's the fact of permanent deals as well, because you usually find that at least one or two of them are loans that inevitably go somewhere else and do good. Which is what we've had to get used to that quite a lot, aren't we? But yeah, it's brilliant. Like, apart from Hugo, really, they're all players that are still progressing and not haven't reached their peak yet as well. So they've still got quite a few years ahead of him, hopefully with us. But yeah, it's brilliant. It's fantastic for us.
100%. Harry asks, isn't Josh Vickers out of contract? Yes, he is out of contract. But it depends what he wants to do for his career, doesn't it? If he wants to be a number one, he might have to leave, sadly. But he's happy to be.
I could see him dropping down to League One again, to be honest. And
yeah,
because
the problem with Vickers is he is injured prone.
His team to play every game, is it?
He's picked up injuries in the past, hasn't he? So I wonder if clubs don't want to pick him up because that. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see on that one, possibly. Any other performances, Danny, do you want to pick out from Monday? I just thought it was generally a solid one. I don't think, for me, nobody shone. I just thought it was a good team performance, other than Cam Humphries. Danny's on mute.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, it was just an overall. I mean, solid might be just a little bit strong, but it was a nice nullifying performance towards Norwich, where it got us the bare minimum result we needed at that time, which I'm all for at this point in the season, if I'm being honest. But the one thing I want to highlight, didn't the game seem to go really quickly?
I think that's because you were drinking that Coke and Southern Comfort I made for you.
That was really strong, if I'm being honest. It was like aviation fuel. Is that what we're fueling the plane for with Sweden, Matt?
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
But now, solid game, solid point. On to the next one for me.
Yeah. Kim Hayward says, I thought Hugo was quiet, which I didn't think he would be. Yeah, I think he needs to be riled up, and I think he got too nice of a reception from Norwich, to be honest with you. Understandably, to be fair, but yeah. Mick, Lewis, anything else, any other players or moments or anything from the Norwich game you want to pick up before we move forward? Look ahead rather than looking back.
I think you mentioned honourable mentions for Jamie Lindsay, who I thought was excellent, really, really good, and for Wes again.
Wes was brilliant, by the way. Sorry, you should have picked him out. You were excellent.
Wes is back to being Wes, and hopefully he's back to being Wes for the rest of the season now. To be fair, the slump that he's had over recent months has been the first one he's had while he's been with us, realistically, for any period of time. So hopefully he's over that now and he's back to being Wes, because I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, Colin Bramwell as well, left back, kept Max Aarons. Max Aarons has been in the past been linked with some of the best teams in Europe.
Who's he linked with Barcelona?
Barcelona, Bayern Munich. He's been linked with a lot of clubs.
And yet he's still at Norwich City. That tells you a story, doesn't it?
Yeah, it tells you more that Colin Bramwell sussed him out pretty well.
Yeah,
and Colin Bramwell's got his issues defensively.
So it suggests that Max Aaron is not as good as he thinks he is. Otherwise, he would still be playing in Championship. Let's be fair. Let's be realistic. And I'm not trying to have a dig at anybody. If he was as good as he thought he was, he would not be playing in the Championship.
It's a good job we played Norwich twice, isn't it?
I was going to say it's a good job with you. I thought we'd got through a full thing of not upsetting opposition fans too much.
I'm not trying to upset anybody. I mean,
he's only 23. To be fair, he's still only 23.
Oh, and he's in Championship, having been courted by Bayern Munich and Barcelona. Why is he not at a higher level?
I don't know. Maybe Norwich playing hardball.
Yeah.
Kim Haywood says enjoy watching Keena as well. Yeah, I thought he did okay when he came on. I think he's injured though. Paul Davis mentioned something about him being injured. I don't know. I feel sorry for him, but that's football, isn't it? He's not been. It's one of those weird ones. He's not been a flop because when he's played, he's done all right. He's just never played.
Or been suspended.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Right, let's move forward. We have Luton Town coming to New York Stadium on Saturday afternoon. As much as Norwich were a good team and West Brom on the day can be a good team, you know exactly what you're going to get with Luton. You're going to be in for a game one way or another. I think they've maybe progressed under Rob Edwards. Certainly have. Looking at the stats, certainly have progressed. It's going to be tough. Their away record is the third best in the division. They're going to give us a hell of a game. We're going to have to be on the very top of our game to get anything out of this.
Yeah, definitely. They're still just about in the automatic promotion race, aren't they? So it's not like West Brom are not really playing for anything. They need to win just about as much as we do. And they've really been one of the surprise packages this season. I expect them to drop off into mid-table or below after what they did last season. But Rob Edwards has done it's got to be one of my managers of the season in Championship, what he's done since taking over and proving what Watford, the idiots, for letting him go so soon, as they always do.
Another team there.
Yeah. But yeah, they're a very well drilled outfit. He's got them some attacking wise. He's kicked them on a little bit, I think, and defensively they're solid as anything. So they'll be a tough test for us. But we do tend to play better against better teams, as we've found multiple times this season. So hopefully that's the same again. We can rise to the occasion.
Yeah, I agree. Mick, just going back, Mick wants to have you got anything to mention on the reference from Monday? I don't have any complaints to be honest with it, but feel free to rant.
No, not really. It was a bit picky, but nothing major from him.
Perfect.
There you go.
Moving on. Obviously, we played Luton the final game before the World Cup break, Danny. Mick Hartford was in charge. It was the week that Nathan Jones left, which, as it turns out, was probably the best time of the season to play Luton because they were good before then and have been brilliant since then. So what do you take from that? Because we're a very, very different team, minus Dan Barlaser. They are clearly a very, very different team. Is it just forget that game and look forward?
Yes, I'd say so. I mean, with that game as well, we very, very nearly beat Luton as well. Because we scored it first minute and they scored it 90th, which is very annoying. But yeah, like you say, it did turn out to be the right time to play them because they've completely cracked on and got on with it this season, haven't they? I think they're unbeaten in their last 9. I think.
Unbeaten in 9, 1 loss in 15.
Yeah. So it's a bit, this is going to be a tough test. Like I know we say we do well against the better teams in the division. Well, I think this is going to be the test of how well can we do against one of the best teams in the division. And yeah, I mean, they've got ex-player Carlton Morris. So I don't know, maybe Victor might be a bit pleased. He'll be in the stands with this one. But he's done exceptionally well goal scoring wise for him this season. It's just going to be a tough game, but it's a game that I'm sort of happy is at home at this point in the season because our home form is very, very good, by our standards anyway. But on the flip side, Luton's away form is very, very good. So it's going to be a 0-0, I reckon.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, they got Carlton Morris up top and Adebayo as well. They obviously are your attacking players. The brilliantly named Marvellous Nakamba is also in midfield, who was Aston Villa. This is the sort of calibre. This is not Luton Town, who picked up sort of League One rejects and turned a diamond into rough. These are proper players that they are starting to pick up. They're able to pick up because they've been able to stabilise in the Championship. Just general thoughts on the game. We know if we turn up, we're going to win, and that's not a dig at Luton. We know on our day how good we can be, but we have to be at that level probably on Saturday.
No doubt about it, yeah. And if we are, I think we'll get something from the game. If we're not, we won't. But on the upside, the last few games we've been improving game on game, really. So that's in that trail of games, the 3-1 win against West Brom, we're right in the middle of it, and we've got better since then. So yeah, well. It's going to be a hard game. There's no doubt about it, and I think everybody knows that. But there's nobody to be frightened of in this division.
Yeah.
There is nobody to be frightened of. They might be on a good run and they might be playing some good football. However, we can get at them because we can get at anybody. Anybody can get at anybody. I'm not, singing our praises particularly over and above anybody else's. But we know that at New York Stadium, we're no pushovers. So. They're going to have to be on their A game if they want to get anything out of the game as well, assuming that we are.
Yeah. San Antonio says depends on which Millers turn up. Luton can be beaten if the West Brom Millers turn up, run out on the pitch. Yeah. So a quick just on Luton's bigger picture, Lewis. I think for me that Luton mixed up. Luton are a team that we should almost be looking up to, which sound. People who just look at Luton, look down at Luton, maybe thinking that's stupid, but the way they've sort of progressed, they survived. They had a skin in their teeth a few years ago. They gradually progressed under Nathan Jones. They've gradually brought in better and better and better players. They've now got another manager who seems to have taken them to the next level. They haven't spent millions and millions. I don't imagine their wage budget is millions and millions. They're doing everything clever. They're doing a bit of it's almost the Yorkshire way. They're getting everything out of their pound that they possibly can. And it's working absolutely. They are right up there with the big boys of this league, and it's a new try. I really, really like seeing them up there.
Yeah, they've fully earned it. Like when you look at the way in League 2A with us back in the day, weren't they? Yeah. And it just shows how far they've come. And because they're not the size of club wise, they're not like too much bigger than us really, comparatively, and definitely in terms of budget. And I think Matt Taylor brought up today that we should be looking at them and thinking there's no reason why we can't, in a couple of years, build on what we've got and replicate what they're doing. It's a great story, and hopefully they can get over the line. Could be good to see a different team in Premier League, really. And instead of the Norwiches and them sort of teams.
And they're a real example, Danny, of that you can't have it all at once. We occasionally have people in the comments sort of saying, "Are we happy we're just winning 10 games in a season?" Or "Are we happy we're just being in a relegation fight?" I think initially, yeah, you've got to be happy with that because you've got to look at a progression. Look at Barnsley a few years ago. They fluked the season, got into the playoffs, and then went back down. Luton aren't like that. There's much more of a plan behind it. They've got a set way of doing things, and you can't not admire. For me personally, but I might be wrong. I can't not admire what they've done.
No, but I admire what they've done. It's sort of a model for us to look at. I think it's just sort of happened sooner, if you like.
Yeah.
But yeah, the journey that Luton's been on has been astonishing. I mean, they were in the playoffs last season, I believe, and missed out on promotion. And I believe they've still got a player who signed from in the National League and is still with them at the minute. So I know there's a little bit of if there's any Chef Wednesday fans watching, there's a little bit of a love fest between Millers and Blades at the minute. But secretly, I want Luton just to pip Sheffield United purely for that lad's journey because it's such a football journey that it's never happened before.
It'd be sweeter for him to do it through playoffs.
Yeah, true. Just go winning goal in playoff final.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good point.
Pelly Ruddick and Panzu. He played for them in 2013-14 when they were in the playoffs. He's gone on to make 363 appearances in all competitions. He's still only 29, to be fair.
Wow.
He's got a few years left in him.
Good lad.
Yeah. I've always had a feeling that like Lewis has mentioned, they didn't make the League 2A season. Us, Bournemouth have gone on to be bit big time. But there's just a bit of affinity with that club. I thought we were down there all together, and they were hard done by, very hard done by.
They were, absolutely. And Bournemouth have done well, but they've done well with a lot of investment in there as well. Yeah. Whereas Luton haven't had that investment and
they've done it the old school way, the old school football way.
Yeah, absolutely. And not blowing budget after budget after budget on pointless players. Doing it properly, building from the bottom, and like Brentford have done. And I accept that Brentford now are getting some investment and everything else, but they did it again. They did it the proper way. So I've lots and lots of respect for Luton Town, absolutely. But I still would paste them on Saturday.
If you think about it,
win 3-0.
If you think about it, those three teams that were on minus points in League Two, they've sort of gone about it in three different journeys. Obviously, like you said, Bournemouth was the investment journey. Luton was going down very, very roughly with a massive negative difference and effectively getting back there the hard way without any sort of looking at changing stadium or anything like that. Whereas we've sort of done it the opposite way. We've had to completely move and go at it again. So you've got three very different journeys, but we're all sort of heading in the same direction again, which is actually quite nice to see. But like I say, Mick, I think we should beat them 4-0, be like Blackburn.
Yeah, hopefully. Right, let's move on back to us. What do you want to see Saturday, Lewis? Let's assume Tyler Blackett's fixed his train today, so that's a step in the right direction. And then let's assume Victor's still injured because we all still think he is. How many would you be tempted to do any changes from Norwich? Is there anything that'd be a good tweak because we're at home?
I don't think so. No, I think I'll keep as it is. To be honest, like I said, provided everyone's fit and Rathbone's okay to start again. I think Taylor's saying he'll be unsure whether we'll be fit again. I think we'll see if he's going to train tomorrow first. But I think if everyone's fit, I don't think there's any reason to change anything.
Yeah. I probably agree, to be honest with you. Danny, we saw Fosu move back to the left of the sort of front three. Yeah, we did, yeah. Were you happy with double check that? Were you happy with that? I thought he had a decent enough game. Were you happy to see? Again, this is all dependent on Rathbone a little bit, to be honest with you. But are you happy to sort of stay out there? Because he nearly scored. He should have scored.
Yeah, I think Fosu definitely does the job in midfield, and we saw how good he was at his best when he's in that position early on. But when it sort of just floats back down to the complacency level, it's a bit hit and miss with him in that position. But
Yeah.
going out to the left-hand side, which I think he played more there when he was at Brentford, or when he was in a Brentford shirt, should I say. So it just gives a nice compliment to Chio on the right-hand side, having a player like Fozzo on the left and then Hugo in the middle. Because they're both service providers, but also they can nip in and still have a shot at goal. Granted, Benny knows where the goal is a bit better than Fozzo does, but he still has that threat, and that's the important thing. But like you say, he's very dependent on if Rathbone is starting fit, which by the looks of things he is now. So I think we may be seeing Fozzo deployed out to that left-hand side more, and potentially Ferguson being the swap out if we decide to go a little bit more defensive later on in the game, or just if Fozzo's running send ragged and needs to come off, which I'm completely fine with, from being honest.
Yeah, me too. Mick, Chio, I thought he was quiet on the last two games, really. Are you still happy with Chio's contribution? It's very easy to question Chio because I think without the ball, he doesn't look great sometimes. But are you still happy with his contribution? You wouldn't be tempted personally to move Fossil to the right and bring Fergie or do something more radical?
I wouldn't be dropping Chio Benny. No, not at all. I'm not particularly happy with his contribution. I think he's got more to offer, and I think he should be offering more. But he still can give you that little bit extra, that little bit of an edge. So I wouldn't be looking to swap him out. The only place I might look to change, it depends on where Luton's strengths lie. You know, if they're quick out wide, then I'd stick with Bramall at the back there. If they're not necessarily, if they're a little bit more physical up front, then I might be looking at bringing Yelder back, because he just gives you that little bit, something that little bit different. So, but other than that, I don't see any changes, to be honest. I don't see why you would. You know, it's about when consistency. Part of being consistent is having a consistent selection, team selection. So if you can get away without changing it, then all well and good. But if you can't, it's minimal changes in it, and that's possibly the only area I'd be looking at.
Yeah, fair enough. Harry mentions the Chio to Fenerbahce rumour. We'll see. I don't know. We have no insight on that. I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. If we remember, Barlas are getting linked to a Turkish team, weren't they? That's Chio's turn.
Barlas was linked to Besiktas, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, yeah. End up at Borough. Warming their bench, which still makes me sad.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So they're getting what they deserve now, aren't they, for leaving him on bench, and that's not winning.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Moral of the story is play Dan Barlasser.
Listen, if you're going to buy him, you need to play him. And he may have a couple of quiet games, Dan Barlasser, but once he gets into the swing of it, you'll not drop him. So we'll have him back. We'll loan him back. Not a problem.
If you don't fancy him, we'll definitely have him back.
Yeah,
100%. Head-to-head with Luton, no win in our last 5 games. The last home win was in September 2008, which was the League 2A season. Alex Rhodes scored a goal. I don't remember Alex Rhodes. Sorry if you're listening, Alex. I don't remember them. But it was, it was a long time ago. And it was Don Barr tried to black that period out of my memory. Ref Watch, we have Mr. Darren Bond. He is a Premier League referee. You laugh.
It's not a point to praise that nowadays, though, is it?
He last ref in the Premier League last Tuesday. He did the Bournemouth Brighton game.
Get out of it.
Yeah, he's ref 4 Premier League games this season.
You have got to be kidding me.
Unless there's another Darren Bond.
I mean, that's one of the funniest things I've ever heard on this podcast. Ever.
For anybody who won't know, it is confused. He sent off Michael Smith, which got overturned in the COVID season. He then sent off Matt Crooks a few games later. I think the next time he refereed us, he sent Matt Crooks off, which wasn't overturned, which is one of the worst decisions the EFL have made. They've made some bad decisions, the EFL. But he did give us a penalty against QPR last time he did referee us. He gave the penalty against for Hugo, which he couldn't get. He couldn't, get out of the way of that one. Yeah. Anything else, Mick?
No. There's no point.
Okay.
It's a worry. Genuinely, when you end up getting referees of that standard, it is a worry of that level of. I don't want to say competence, but you know what I mean. That sort of hot-headed, can't really make a decision type of referees who they don't. He's very clearly one of these that doesn't like to take time to think about what he's seen. He just reacts to it and then thinks about it later. It's not great. It's not a great look, but it is a worry. And then we've obviously got a bigger worry or as big a worry for the Burnley game as well. So these two games are crucial to our season. They are important to us because of the momentum that we've got coming out of these last few games. And the last thing we need is to be on the end of some farcical refereeing performances. And whilst I'm not suggesting that they are going to happen, if there's two referees that are likely to do that, well, there's three, but Stuart Atwell's in Premier League, isn't he? So we can rest easy on that one. But the two in the Championship, these are two of them, so it's a worry.
Yeah, I mean, he likes a yellow card as well. He's given 155 yellow cards in 38 games, so he averaged about 4 yellow cards a game. He's twice given out 8 yellow cards in games this season, which is quite incredible. But anyway, let's move on because it's funny. Shelley says, Hugo is what we've been missing. Proper striker, a bit of a bully at times, strong on the ball, good with his feet, wins the headers, knows exactly what he's doing. You can tell he's played at a higher level. Yeah, Lewis is a bit like, we talked about this, maybe a little bit, and again, we may be just doing a disservice to Michael Smith, but he's a bit like an upgrade of Michael Smith. He does everything Michael Smith does, but a bit better. Maybe the work rate's maybe not quite there. I think maybe Smith had a bit better work rate, but that's only marginal, to be honest with you. Yeah. He is what we've been missing. I agree.
He's just made for us, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's got more of a mean streak about him than Smith had, I think. Especially when he plays against certain former clubs he didn't like. But yeah, he's brilliant. It's just we've not seen best of him sometimes when we've struggled to get him in game, but that's more on us rather than him. When he's been in the game, he's been fantastic, and he's just what we need up front. Just a focal point.
Yeah, I think is it nail on the head there, Danny. I think when we get him in game, what against Luton, I imagine it's very tempting because of how good they are, is to sit in a little bit. But that leaves Jordan Hugill so isolated, and you can't do that. To get the best out of him, you've got to have people in around him. So you've got to attack in a sense to keep Hugill in the game. Otherwise, you may as well be playing with 10 men.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when Hugill gets the service, I mean, look at the game against West Brom. He got exactly the type of service that he needed, and he scored twice and nearly got an hat-trick out of it. Granted, it was more up for that game because of their fans, but it just goes to show if he gets what he needs, he's a very key player. But like Lewis says there, if you don't give him what he needs, then he's effectively not in the game. He still puts in the work for it. Don't get me wrong. He's not just stood up front like a lump, not doing anything. He still puts him centre about. It's just not the Hugill that we want to see, if that makes sense. But yeah, like you say, we need to get out and attack Luton, even though they are a good side. And like you say, it's tempting to sit in and just try and defend on it. If we come out and play, say, how we played against Blackburn, how we played against West Brom, and really come out, even how we played against Sunderland and Sheffield United as well, like at them and not scared of them, we could see anything on Saturday. Absolutely anything.
I think you're right, to be honest with you. Let's go through the fixtures that do affect us. Not on Friday, that affect us. Just the one game. The early kickoff is Sheffield United. Sheffield United against are hosting Cardiff. Blackpool Wigan is. I wouldn't normally say, it's a big game. It's not, is it? That's the battle to finish. Who's going to finish bottom? Unfortunately for those two, I would say I might come back to eat those words. I won't, but them two are down. Unfortunately for them. Reading are hosting Burnley, which could be interesting. Bear in mind, Burnley come to us on Tuesday. QPR host Coventry. And is that it? Swansea host Huddersfield as well.
And Sheffield United have got Cardiff.
Yeah, that's the first one. Early kick off that, yeah.
Okay.
Michael Miller says, I can't really see why we have a down on Bobby Madlist after the preview to Tuesday game. If we didn't open his mouth inappropriately a few years ago, he would be a Premier League regular. This all stems back to the Wickham game last season, where he was horrific with the managing the time wasting. Maybe it's a Wickham thing. He was horrific, but he was pretty good against Sunderland. So we'll talk about that.
I just feel that for me, I feel as though he's quite easily, and I might be wrong with this. It's just my perception that he's quite an easily influenced referee, either by players or by managers or by supporters. For me, and I agree with Mike. He could, should, and probably was in the Premier League, and he's certainly better than some of the Premier League referees that are up there at the moment. One of them I've named already, but I'm not a fan.
Have you seen? This is way out of topic. Have you seen the Ipswich fans upset with their refereeing appointment on Saturday?
That's a bizarre decision.
Everybody's not seen this. James Belly, who was refereed us last season, is a Sheffield Wednesday fan and a publicly Sheffield Wednesday fan, and he is refereeing the Ipswich game on Saturday. And because obviously the Ipswich Sheffield Wednesday promotion battle is so fierce at the moment, all the Ipswich fans have come out and been upset about it. I might be as well. But
I can't blame him. I can't understand why whoever appoints the referees, it puts the referee in a difficult position.
If he makes a howler on Saturday and gives a penalty incorrectly, fans aren't sorry. He's made a mistake. They're going to be saying something very, very different. So
although there is the flip to that if he does it for Ipswich, people will be calling out that he's trying to be too over biased. If that makes sense.
Don't give him the game. There's plenty of referees. Let them have Dan Bond.
Yeah, I do feel sorry for
make a late substitution for Wednesday ref. Actually, that's no good for us either, is it?
He refed last season against Bolton, and I don't think he was amazing, but he was fine.
Yeah.
Which one against Bolton?
Away at their place, the 2-0 win.
Oh, he was all right, to be fair. Yeah, we'll take him. Why not?
You're right, Mick. It puts him in a really, really difficult position. He can't win on Saturday. But referees can never win, to be honest. So
no, that's true.
Right, predictions. Lewis, what do you see Saturday afternoon? Tuffy.
It is a toughie. I'll say 1-1. It's a tough game. I think we need to live up to it, but they're a good side, so I can't quite see you winning.
Yeah, Danny.
I have a logical answer, and an answer that I think will actually happen.
Okay.
So my logical answer is we'll come out, take the game to Luton. They won't quite have enough to break us down defensively, and it's going to finish 0-0. And I'm going to put that down as my prediction.
Okay.
But the other thing is, if we take the game to Luton and completely shell shock them with how much we press him, we could see a Blackburn score.
Okay.
They're my two answers, but I'm going with the 0-0.
Okay. We should give a shout out to Ben. Ben correctly predicted 0-0 at Norwich. Like I said the other day, we don't like giving Ben credit. Sometimes we have to. Well done, Ben. Well done, mate. Mick, Saturday's result.
Yeah, I'm very much like Danny. And my initial thought was 0-0, but I just feel that if we can continue this momentum, the game is ours, and I'm going to go 2-0 Rotherham.
2-0.
I see some strikers keep doing the clean sheet. Whatever happens, I'm being brave, aren't I?
Yeah,
probably. It's a thin line.
You've been speaking to Ben too much about motivation and momentum and such.
Yeah, it's a thin line between bravery and stupidity, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm gonna. I don't think we're gonna win. I'll be honest with you. I think we're gonna lose. I think we're gonna lose 1-0.
Still, that's not end of world if we lose 1-0. As long as we take the game to them, I'm happy. If we sit back and lose 1-0, I'll be annoyed. But if we really take the game to them and try and play our way, but still lose 1-0, it's like fair play.
We've got that buffer, haven't we? Let's be right about it. We've given ourselves that buffer where if we lose a game or maybe even two, we've still got enough gap to everybody below us. It's not, if one team win, it's not a problem. If they all win, then it's a problem. The chance of everybody winning is so unlikely. He says. Kim Hayward says 1-1. Gaza says 1-0 to the Millers. John S says it'll be tight. He says thinks 1-0, but not sure who to. Palmad says he can smell a teams like Rotherham, so he's going to go 1-0 to the Millers. Jamie says 2-1. Josh says Hugo. It says 2-2. Hugo and a Dauphin score. Morris double for them. Terry Fenby thinks 3-2. He thinks it'll be a thriller. 3-2 thrill for Rotherham. Matt Squires and Matt Neal says 2-1 to the Millers. Harry Ice says same as me, 1-0 to them. Simon Thorne says 3-1 to the Millers. Take it to the bank. Reg says 3-3. Deacon says 3-1. Sam Hadfield 2-0 loss. Steve Gundy says 1-0. Matt Miller says Matt, we ain't safe yet. No, but we're so close. I can almost smell it, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on. Finish. Before we finish, 45 points. How many more points do we need? Danny, start with you. How many more points is... We said this on the last episode, I think. So we'll do it every week now until we're safe.
5.
5 to like be comfortable safe, or you think we'll need 5 in total to like
we'll need
5.
We'll need 5 total.
Okay. So you think 50 is the cutoff? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Mick, 50 the cutoff?
Yeah. 5 points. 6 will make me very happy.
Okay. Lewis?
Yeah, I think 5, but let's say 6 so I can be lounged down in my chair and be more comfortable.
Yeah. We've got 2 easy games coming up. Luton and Burnley at home, both home games. We're almost nailed on 6 points out of it, mate.
Yeah.
If we get 5 points between now and before we play Middlesbrough, I will quite happily take a deck chair to Wigan and chill out.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that you think Reading will pick up 9 points in the last 5 games?
Depends who they appoint, doesn't it?
They've got Noel Hunt, haven't they? As a interim. He's probably better than Paul Ince, to be fair.
He used to play for him.
Did he?
It's like his brother Stephen Hunt was more famous than him, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I remember him.
Yeah. Stephen's the one with hair, weren't it?
Yeah. Were you the one that fractured Peter Cech's skull?
Yeah. It was.
Yeah. Boring side note. But that again, it sounded. I think I agree with you on 4 or 5 points, but can you really see Reading picking up 9 points from 15? It's so unlikely to happen. It could happen, but it's so unlikely, isn't it? So
it's just a daft league. Yeah.
Before we sign off, I'll do my usual points per game total.
Go on.
So we're averaging just over a point a game. It's like 1.125 points per game. So if we carry on as we are right now, we'll get 52 points.
Yeah.
Well, technically 51.75, but I don't think the AFL are daft enough to give us 3/4 of a point, are they? So we're on course for 52, but like I said, I'm happy with 50. I think that's the line.
I could still see 45, 46 being the drop point from Reading. I can't see them getting more than 6 from their 5 games. They've got
stranger things have happened though. That's
true. Most people think 4 or 5 points. Mike Mills says 51 points in total. Reg says draw and a win and we're safe. That's probably why I am, to be honest with you, with Reg. I think 4 points will do it. John Morell says 50 points is nice. He can confirm it. We're sitting pretty in 18th place trophies coming to us at the minute. So that's what we can hold on to.
Oh, you might have to put some red and white ribbons on that, Johnny, instead of blue and white.
Don't tell me. I've been tempted to get a medal that actually says 18th place on it and take it to Wigan, but we'll see.
I will end it unless I've got any comments that I've stored that I want to talk about. Nope, that's fine. We can go from here. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We're 948. We want to get to 1,000 by the end of the season. So if we can get there, that'd be lovely. Please subscribe if you haven't already and get your friends, families to subscribe as well. Even if they're not Millers. If they're a Wednesday fan, just get the phone, subscribe for them. It'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Sort of funny. It won't be hilarious, it'd be sort of funny.
If we get to 1,000, Danny's volunteered to eat some of that stupid, horrible Swedish fish on camera. So if you want to see somebody eating whatever it is. I can't remember what it's called now.
What it's called?
It's effectively fermented herring, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's
find out its name.
Yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, willing to do that. We had the cut-off is the final whistle of the Wigan game.
I'm not looking. I'm not checking the final whistle.
I am. As soon as full-time whistle goes and all amusements have finished when we've stayed up, I will check. And if it's over if it's 1,000 or over, I'm doing that.
Well, I'll tell you what, Danny. If it's close, I'm going to spend the whole of the Wigan game creating YouTube accounts.
So get subscribing and friends and family, etc. Please, if you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, please make sure you subscribe there as well. You can give us a 5-star rating. That'd be really, really helpful to us as well. There'll be instant reaction. Should be up sometime Saturday evening. It should be up earlier than last week's episode. It should be out on the night of the game, hopefully. We will be back on Sunday evening, which will be the review of the Luton, preview of the Burnley game, because it just gets easier in the Championship. That's how it works. So yeah, thank you everybody. We will be thankful for having you, Lewis. It's been a long time since we've had you on. We will have you again. We'll do the end of season predictions, so we've got to get you back on for that episode when that comes.
I'll play my dial for that one.
Yeah. Cheers, thank you for being back with us. Appreciate it, mate. Danny, get ordering some Swedish fish.
We'll see.
Brilliant. And Mick, thank you.
See ya.
It's been a pleasure. See you, everybody. We'll see you next time, man. Up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Ravel. Vicious. Brilliant. Mule with it. Wood's got round the back. And Richie Wood has done it again. The magic man has come up with another trick. Well, here's a chance to seal it. It's done. It's Georgie Kelly.